up, world? Welcome back to another episode of the Hot Seat Podcast. I'm your host, Trees Trims. And today we have a very special guest in the building, man, by the name of Kiera, my barber sister, Kiera, AKA Crippin' Kiera, AKA Konigncuttz, AKA the first female with a mobile barber service. Let's go! Welcome to the show, Kiera, man. Thank you for being here. And I'm super excited to have this conversation with you because I know that it's going to definitely inspire a lot of people, motivate a lot of people. And not only that, but just, we can catch up and talk about some stuff, down the road and things that we experienced along the way. Definitely. So stay tuned, man.
Okay. 27-year-old female professional barber. Owner of Konigin Kutz. Let's see. I can't fucking do this shit.
Yeah, you can.
From San Diego, California.
Yeah.
Born in Germany, which is a very, very interesting fact about myself that no one probably knows unless I tell you. Been cutting for about 5 years now, since 2017, so I guess that's technically 5 years.
Right, it is. Hell yeah. That's enough.
I don't know if that's fucking good, but
nah, that's exactly, we're keeping it, all of that. That's what we're doing. So the thing about it is, I've been saying Konigncuttz a lot, right?
Right.
So
everybody.
Give me the breakdown about that. I've been saying it wrong, and I knew I was saying it wrong, and now just give me the history and the background about that, because I've been messing
Everybody's been saying that wrong. It's Konigncuttz, which is in German, because in Germany they don't use their O's. Their O's are silent, so it's Konigin. But everybody's been saying Konigin, so I've just been running with it because it just sounds 10 times better than Konigin.
I'm thinking the Konigin is a little bit more exotic. That's
exactly.
Like nothing you never heard before.
It's more exotic, but Konigin is I don't know, it flows a little better than what Konigin, and it's. I'm
all up at the event. I'm all welcome to the recap for the Konigncuttz. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know what, man? Konigin, so the correct. Let's give them the correct one.
Let's look into this camera right here. And it's Konigin.
Konigin. I'm gonna look in this camera too. Konigin.
Kutz. But it's a lot of people say Konigin, and what it actually means is queen in German. Queen in German.
I love it.
Born in Germany, gotta use it. got a Konigin tattoo that me and my sister and my brother all have in German. Obviously, he has king because he's a boy. But
fun fact. Kiera is also a what?
A twin.
I'm crying. Shout out to all the twins out there,
Identical twins, fraternal, all that shit.
And obviously, this show is about putting a spotlight on entrepreneurs, small business owners, musicians, actors. Whatever it is that you do right here in our community, we want to put a spotlight on that. And that's what this platform is geared towards. So with that being said, I met Kiera at Rico's Barbershop. And we want to give a big shout out to Rico's Barbershop.
One and two.
Or as FA would say, Rico's 1 and Rico's 1.0. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dr. Charles Washington, who gave a lot of us an opportunity to get into the barber industry. And obviously you can't work in a shop forever if you have a goal to have your own shop. Which brings us to the conversation today with Kiera and myself as well. So I know a lot of you guys been watching the podcast and you like, who's this dude that's hosting the podcast and what is he all about and why is he so geared towards helping people in the community, whatever the case may be. But today is a special day because Today's the first day I'm actually interviewing a barber. That's the crazy part. So yes, we're in the barber industry. We're in the beauty industry. We like to make people feel good, look good, and all that extra good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So that's why Kiara is in the building and in the hot seat today. And we're going to talk about a lot of great things that she's got going on, man. So with that being said, I need to know, where did you get the name Konigncuttz? Like, how did it come about though? Like, you gave us the origin of how to pronounce it and all that stuff, but how did that actually come about? Because there's like Trees Trims and there's like all these different names. And you were Kiara, but now it's this Konigncuttz things. Konigncuttz, however you want to say it. It's fire though. Right. It's fire.
Absolutely. It's very different. I don't know. Like, I would just be honest. Like, I don't even know how I came up with the name. Like, I think I was just maybe like 2 years after cutting at Rico's. I was just like, just flowing through Instagram, and I was seeing all types of barbers just kind of work at a shop, but kind of only have their own name or their own brand. So I was like, and I was thinking to myself, like, when people come into the shop, they're like, I'm here for Kiara. Like, what outside of that could I have for myself besides working at Rico's? Like, obviously Rico's was the first, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, what could I develop for myself to try and create my own stamp or brand? And I was like, what would be interesting that has some type of soul tie to me and who I am? And I think I had asked my mom, I'm like, I need to come up with something, a brand or a name that kind of tells me who I am or something in that nature. And I'm just like, what? And then I kind of figured it out because I'm like, hold up. I'm like, me and my sister have the same tattoo. My brother has a similar tattoo. I'm like, why? I was like, why can't you use this? And I'm like, and I try to do some research on it. Like, okay, does this really mean what I think it means? Like, I'm trying to make sure before I just be like, you know what, it's Konigncuttz or Konigncuttz. Right. And I looked it up and I'm like, that'd be perfect. Like, Konigncuttz means queen, and I have it on my arm. My sister has it on her arm. We were born in Germany. Like, right. I'm like,
and see, that's one thing I didn't know that about you. So that's strong. Like, exactly. That's roots. So like, that makes sense.
That's perfect. Because I honestly, like I said, I don't even know what I was gonna come up with. Like, besides that, I'm like, what? Like, K-Kutz, boring.
Right, boring. Seen a bunch of those. Like, that's boring. Seen a bunch of K-Kutz.
Like, that's boring. So I just wanted to come up with something different, and what had to do with me and my background, I guess you could say. So
that's perfect, though. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I love it. So one more. Just pronounce it one more time.
It is pronounced. Just
pronounce it one more time. Konigncuttz.
But everybody is going to say Konigncuttz because that's just what people have been saying since I put it out there. Which I'm fine with, but don't go to Germany and say Konigncuttz. You better Konigin.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, I think I'm mispronouncing it, but I've been pronouncing it around her that way, and she's not correcting me.
I'm not correcting nobody.
Like, well, Kiara seemed like the type of person that would correct somebody, so I'm like,
I am.
Well, maybe I am saying it wrong. But look, I didn't know it was so deep. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So,
it's deep.
I'm putting some respect on that.
It's deep, but it ain't that.
And shout out to that Konigncuttz. Let's get that right, because when you see that truck rolling down the street, people gonna murder that name.
They gonna be like,
but they gonna know. They gonna know what you're doing in there, though. They gonna know what you're doing in there, and that's providing them fire haircuts. You know what I'm saying? Off top. All right, so you know, like I said, we met at Rico's, and you came in, and you know, a lot of people that come to Rico's, like myself, start off as apprentice, But you were somewhere, you were somewhere like more established in the situation, like as far as you already had some licensing.
Right.
So,
I didn't have my license, but I was taking my test to get my license.
Okay.
The following week, Mr. Washington had said you could work here.
Unlike most people that go through the whole process.
Right.
Okay, so when you got your license, and then you were working at Rico's for a while, and then there was a point where you decided to leave, and I felt like that's one thing I want to talk, because I said, who are you? You didn't even say nothing about basketball. You're a basketball star. You played in college. You didn't, so let's go ahead. I'm digging a little deeper. We want to know what's going on, because Kiera not only has been through the Barber program, but you also been through, the college and going through that route and playing sports, student athlete route. So we want to talk about this, and you need to tell us what's going on, because from what I know, when you left Rico's, I was like, okay, Kiera type. We used to have taco shop. Look, we used to be over there talking.
Off the top.
Yeah. We was like, okay, we're gonna have just chicken tacos then. All that. So,
oh my God.
That was all fun. That was all great. But then there was a time where you decided to leave and go back and kind of pursue your education, etc. So let's talk about that part.
Ooh.
I mean, nothing bad.
I mean, no,
Did you not?
I did, but COVID had hit, and then it was just becoming too much. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm good, because as much as it would have been ideal or the better route for me to get a master's, at the same time in my mind, I'm like, I don't really want to work for nobody. And that's why I want to say that I took the barber route, because I went to school, and for me, I feel like if I wasn't playing basketball, I truly probably would have felt like college wasn't the route for me. And as much as your parents want you to go to college and get a 4-year degree, blah, 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 if it wasn't for basketball, I think I would have been fine with just an AA at a 2-year college. I don't think I would have went to a 4-year. I don't think I would have done that. But basketball was probably the only thing that kept me going as far as college. And my master's degree was important at the time when I left Rico's, but when the whole COVID thing hit, and then I was sitting there like every day because my barbershop was closed and I was working up there, I was like, I said, I don't know, this is not it. Like, I kind of, like, in my mind, I was already on the mindset of, I don't really want to work for nobody. I don't want to sit and have a 9-to-5, and not that there's something wrong with a 9-to-5, but I'm like, it's just like at the point that I'm at, like, I see where I started and where I am now. It's just like, it's a time where I was just like, I want to choose to do something that I enjoy, that I love, that's not stressful, and wake up every day like, fuck, I gotta go to this goddamn 9-to-5 job. I don't want to do that.
Check in right on time.
I gotta get my mental together before I start. Monday through Friday, I'm good. Like, I'd rather wake up and cut hair and be happy and work for myself and be free, I guess you could say, be self-employed, entrepreneur, start something in that. So Rico's to me was like that little taste of being an independent contractor. Absolutely.
Something that you had control of.
Absolutely.
The time that you worked, the hours, the price, whatever it was, the service. That was a little taste of that. And then when you went back,
but you gotta remember that I was also working like.
You were coaching.
I was working like 3 other jobs while I was at Rico's.
So that's a big look. Look. Let's look into these cameras and let them know.
Jobs.
When you are becoming a barber and you come into a new barbershop, you can't always depend on your barber money to provide for your family. Depending on what stage you are in your life, like, God bless you, you were in a situation where it was like, you didn't have to really necessarily worry about providing for other people. Right. But yourself.
Right.
as being an independent individual.
Right.
So you're in that space and you're saying, okay, the barbering thing is what I love and I'm passionate about it, but it's not exactly paying all the bills right now.
Absolutely.
But I still love it, but I'm still willing to do these other things to make ends meet until this barbering thing takes off.
Right.
And that's where you were kind of in that space.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it was, the job that I have was in my field of my bachelor's degree. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I want to
do this?
Yeah, do I want to do something that has pertaining to my degree, or do I want to do something that doesn't have anything to pertain to my degree?
So it was like a tug of war.
Yeah, it was like me trying to figure out whether I want to go to A or I want to go to B, like which one do I like more. Obviously.
So leaving Rico's and going after that master's was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out. Now, and my thing about that is, I totally saluted you when you left. Like I was like, yo, that's dope because you do have that opportunity to do that. Being a barber is gonna be here, but going and pursuing and kind of following through with a certain thing. Like when it comes to a master's degree, you got to stay in rhythm. You got to be in. Like you can't just take 10 years off and be like, oh yeah, I'm just go back and get my master's. Your life is different. So I respected you for going and doing that. And then in the midst of that, we came into the COVID thing. Yeah. And so I know that kind of like altered your plans, so to speak. But at the same time, I think it was cool because everybody's back was against the wall with COVID. Whatever you normally do, it might not work out. So you have to figure out how to either still do that in a different fashion, which was like, oh, you're a barber, so you're not in the shop anymore, but you can at least go out and still provide that service somehow, some way. For you, like I said, went the school route, and then, you know, of course, that's something you can still take with you no matter what. Cutting. But you got to a point where it's COVID. Now all the shops is closed down, right? Everybody is are you essential or are you not? When the shops closed down, obviously we weren't considered essential. But in the African American community, haircuts and hair care, beauty industry, all that's essential for us. I'm just saying, I'm looking right in this camera. That's essential for us.
Not even essential, it's important.
So you had to kind of like figure out ways to still provide a service. Considering for a long time there was no benefits or no programs set to help us out. So for a minute I was doing whatever I could. And I think that's what kind of like grew our mental to start thinking and strategizing on other ways to still do what we want to do in a safe and professional manner, but without depending on some of the other things that we had to depend on, whether it had been a station that we're renting out or whatever it was. And that brings me to the mobile barber service situation with you. Because I ain't gonna lie, before I was a barber and working at Rico's and all that stuff, I had like this vision to be like this mobile barber service. And it was really, more or less, I ain't gonna lie, it was really because I didn't have a license. So I figured if I had the skills, I could just go around and just give people haircuts and I wouldn't need to work in a shop where you need a license, right? And then I kind of put some respect on it. And I had to go that license route. Shout out to the Riverside Apprentice Program, because I, you know what I'm saying, big salute to them. You know, so because we did have to do that, and it brings us here. So the mobile barber service that you're doing right now. Let's talk about how that came to you during the midst of the pandemic, because I feel like the pandemic gave us a lot of time, not to work, but to think and strategize about what we really want to do with our lives. A lot of people complain, I don't have time with my family, I don't have time to do this because I have to work this 9 to 5 in order to pay these bills, or I'm going to school and I'm trying to pay back my debt, all these different things. So that particular moment I felt like was the most time that we had to sit back, be with our families, figure out what it is that we want to do with our lives. And in the midst of that, I figured out some things, and I'm guessing, you know, that's kind of like the time that you came with this concept for the. Okay.
Absolutely. Like you said, just the whole beginning of the pandemic, whether you were thinking that you finna wake up and I'm finna go cut at the shop today, and then the next week you like, damn, we can't go cut at the shop today. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, do I really want to go to my client's house and go cut their hair? And I know them, but I don't know them. Do I really want them to come to my house? And I, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like a conflict of, I guess, interest a little bit. Like, especially with me being a female, like, do I really want to go over there by myself? Right. Do I feel comfortable with them coming over here? And I guess I felt a little comfortable with them kind of coming to my house. Like, I was cutting in the garage, but it was also 90 degrees. So I'm like,
you're comfortable, but you're not comfortable? I'm
trying to cut their hair, and everyone's sitting there. I'm like,
with a sweaty lineup, and everybody's waiting, like, hurry up.
And I'm like, trying to give them the best haircut, but they're just sweating, and I'm sweating, and I'm just, my clippers is just fucking up. Like,
yeah.
What are we gonna do? Like,
it was so hard. I'm not gonna lie, I was in the garage and I dealt with that same thing.
What are we gonna do?
You know, it was really rough at that time, man.
What are we gonna do? And then, you know, you didn't know when your owner was gonna say, okay guys, y'all can come back to the shop. Like, I think my shop was closed for like 3-4 months. And I'm like, what I'm doing? Like, I mean, what I'm doing, bro? Like,
there was no assistance, there was no help for us.
Am I finna go get a job, like a part-time job, full-time job, and kind of cut hair on the side? Am I gonna figure out a way to just make it work? What I'm gonna do? So I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, bro, like, this whole cut in the garage is not working. Right. Me driving over there, trying to bring all my shit out of my car, going to their house, and where I live, it's just like, it's mainly people who live in apartments, so I'm like carrying my shit up the stairs, and it's just like, golly, I'm sick of this.
You got all your stuff.
I'm like, my God, like, it's a lot. It's a lot to just do a mobile haircut for one person, 2 people. It's a lot.
And let's just keep it real. Even when you show up, you can have your little chair, you got all your equipment, you got everything you need, and then you still don't get exactly what you expect out of, like, people don't exactly respect what you're actually providing for them.
They didn't understand it. They just thought it was just like, I'm going to the barbershop to get a haircut. I'm going to a barbershop to get a regular haircut. They felt like they was
doing you a favor. Like, you know, like, nah, bro, you're not doing me no favor. I'm lugging chairs up to.
This is a lot of time.
Yeah.
This is a lot of patience. It's a lot of trying to carry my shit. Like.
Yeah, and I don't like it because I'm used to working in the shop.
It's a lot.
Where I don't got to do nothing.
Right, and you're driving all types of miles. You're spending hours, and you just feel like my whole day is wasted after you did a mobile cut. And I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, what could be the best way? Like, let's say like the barbershops wouldn't have opened back up. What if we'd still been closed?
Because that's a lot of that's how a lot of us were thinking.
Exactly. When is your barbershop gonna open? When are you gonna go back to your normal cutting in the shop every day or 5 days out of the week? What are we gonna do? Mm-hmm. So I just was sitting there. I'm like, I've been seeing a couple of mobile barbershops, but I don't think that's for me. I don't know. Maybe it might be a little too much. So then something just kept showing me, and I hop on social media or something like that. I'm just seeing more people just like mobile barbershops, and they weren't in California. They were just like all over the South and the East Coast, and I'm just like why I can't do that?
Yeah, because a lot of people before the pandemic, they was already doing it.
I'm like, so why can't I do that? Right. Why can't I do that? Why won't I want to do that? Like, that's just the smartest thing ever. Pulling up to somebody's house and telling me bring all my shit in, they can just walk out and be getting cut on the bus and call it a day. Like they're in a barbershop. What? I know where I can't do it. It's just like I'm sitting there. I'm like, that's gonna cost a lot of money. And right now, you in a position to where you gotta pay your rent and pay all type of shit and don't know when your next full schedule of haircuts is gonna come in the barbershop. Like, do I really want to risk it? Do I want to invest in this and hopefully and pray that it's gonna work out in the end? And I just remember like hitting up one of my friends' dad, and he has a trucking company, and I'm like, hey, I need you to do something for me, or does this sound right? He's like, what you mean? I'm like, okay, so I don't know when my barbershop goes back up. I said, so, and you have a trucking company. I was like, do you ever see any types of bus or something like that where like people have had a barbershop on it before? And he was like, nah. He's like, I ain't never seen that shit in California. I'm like, okay, so what you think about me kind of doing it? And he's like, you on a mobile barbershop? He was like, I think that shit dope. And I'm like, okay, so what I need you to do, or what you thinking? Like, you think you can help me try to find something to where I can transition it into a mobile barbershop, and then we go from there? And he's like, say less. We gonna figure it out. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
and this is your friend's dad.
Yeah, it's my friend's dad. Like,
wow.
And I've been cutting them. I cut him. I cut his sons and all that. I cut everybody in the house. So he's just like, damn, I ain't never thought of it like that. Like a mobile barbershop. Like he was just abused, and I'm like, bet. I'm like, if he abused, I know other people gonna be abused.
Yeah, it's gonna work.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bet. So we figured it out. Like we was hopping on Facebook. We was hopping on Craigslist, trying to find just a bus, a food truck, those trailers that, you know what I'm saying? Trying to look for anything, like anything. Yeah. Hopping on there, it was like, all right, cool. Like we found one down the street, you know, from my mom's house, and I was going up to like every party bus, trailer, food truck, and I'm putting a sign like, I'm a barber. I'm looking to turn this into a mobile barbershop. If you're selling it, here's my number.
Oh, snap.
Like, I was putting tape papers on people's windows. Like, everybody was like, why are you on my property type shit? I'm like,
because I'm just wondering if you selling this or not.
Like, I'm just wondering if you selling this. I put the description. I was like, I want to buy this to turn it into a mobile barbershop. Okay. Mobile barbershop. And everyone's hitting me back like, this is a great idea. Like, I'm not selling it, but I wish you the best, but this is a great idea.
Right.
And then you got that one person that finally was like, you know what? Like, we're not looking to sell it, but we were kind of looking to sell it. I think this is a good idea. How much are you willing to pay for it? And I'm like, cool. I was like, all right, cool. Dude, at that point, I'm like, right.
You didn't bought into my concept.
Say less. Say less. So they hit me back, and it was just like, if they think it's a good idea, they don't even look like they fucking get haircuts. Like, you know, like, I'm like, just imagine, like, people just seeing that shit go down the road on the freeway, like, park somewhere, like, mobile barbershop. Yeah. So
it comes to you, like, that's
like, man. That's perfect. That's perfect. In my mind, I thought it was perfect. And
You're killing it.
And I don't know why I needed so many motherfucking, like, approvals, but I was just like, it was good to hear that people thought that the idea was solid. At the time that we were in this COVID, everybody's stressing and overwhelmed with when they gonna get their next paycheck, if they gonna get the next paycheck. And us barbers and hairstylists we're essential, we're not essential. Okay, we're gonna get low-key be essential. Like, it's a lot of fucking stress. So
you took all that, you took your fate into your own hands. Not only did you create this concept for a mobile barber service and bring it to full fruition, you had this first look event planned. And I was super juiced up about it. Cause I mean, I thought like the mobile barber service concept was amazing. You're spreading it in a different area, kind of like, it was a bounce back for everybody at that time, post-COVID. And it's not even post-COVID, but at that time we thought like we were coming out of it, and these were our concepts for how we were gonna move forward. So when I seen the mobile barber service, I was geeked up, and the event for it and all of that. And I guess, you know, things going the way they go, it didn't really work out for the first date. But I told you, don't worry about it, let's keep on pushing. You kept on making that, not saying that I have anything to do with, you know, you actually following through whatever the case may be, but I did definitely let you know I'm supporting. I don't care what date it is, I'm pulling up, you know what I'm saying? So, the date comes, and it happens. And it's an amazing event, man. If you missed that event, I'm gonna look into both cameras. If you missed that event, you missed something special, man. Because, for one, I know what type of work goes into any event. And that event was all focused on the work that you put into that truck, which I know that wasn't easy. So big shout out to your friend that had the dad that could do that. And
absolutely,
you know, I don't know if you want to talk about any of those challenges coming up into that event, but I'll tell you one thing, that event was popping. And I think we drove about 55 minutes up there, and it was well worth it because the event was lit. The DJ was popping. Shout out to Hell the DJ.
Yes, sir.
She was out there killing that thing. She had the beanie with the Yeezy. She had the rave runners on, you know what I'm saying? She was rolling backwoods and doing her motherfucking thing. So big shout out to Hell the DJ. I followed her and all of that. And then the taco spot. What was the taco spot called?
Happy
Time Tacos. Happy Time Tacos.
Yeah.
I followed them too. They were super lit because when I pulled up, like I said, I didn't just jump right out. I see the taco man out there. Y'all playing y'all music. He out there going crazy to the music. He like, yeah. I was like, oh. And then he had his lady with him or whatever they was. They was killing it too. So I'm like, the taco people lit. The DJ lit. I see Kiara walking back and forth through her event. She don't even know I'm there. She lit. By the time I pull up, she eating tacos. Them tacos was crazy though.
Fire.
The music was crazy. Shout out to the Beer Co too. My man at the Beer Co was super dope as well. So that event just was like amazing to me. And to be able to see your vision come full circle was like something that that's what this podcast is about. Helping put a spotlight on those kind of things, that moment. So, if you haven't seen the recap video that Shot by Riggs put together, go check that out. It's on YouTube. We all posted it on our personal pages too. So y'all make sure y'all get into that, man. Outside of that, Kiera, even though you are so gangster, and I don't really even know if I can ask you this question.
I'm crying.
I'm just saying. Talk to me about being a female barber. What do you feel are some of the advantages, disadvantages? How do you feel like how do you navigate through that game? And a lot of people I want y'all to know one thing. Like me, when it comes to gender, when it comes to a craft or a profession, I'm not really breaking it down on gender. Or whatever camera I need to look at. I don't want to break it down to gender. I want to break it down to just being good or not. And I really feel like you're a really good barber. You know what I'm saying? But I also know that me being a man and you being a woman, there's different things that we both kind of have to deal with. So, give women barbers out there their, a tip or two.
Flowers.
Yeah, and their flowers because there was shout out Liz the barber. CC, you know, people that we worked with and been close in contact with that are really great barbers, and just like here. So, you know, I want to like tell them something. What would be your biggest tip to give them? And me, I'm mad because I watch all these shows and I know how long it takes me to get these questions out. And whatever, but give them that.
Just don't underrate yourself as a female barber. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like a lot of female barbers are underrated and they're put in the underdog category because they're females, and we have to deal with a lot of people who aren't in our 2022 dimension, and they're still stuck in their old 80s and 70s way, to where a lot of women they don't think a lot of women have a lot of talent to do different things outside of what we were projected to be doing, I guess you could say.
Right.
And I don't know, like I feel like a lot of like men want a female barber, and they don't want to admit it. They think
it's true.
They think walking into a barbershop and I'm here for Kira. You here for who?
Say it with your chest, nigga.
You here for who?
Right.
Like, I'm here for her. Like, motherfucker, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
be proud of it.
Like, it ain't nothing to be ashamed of. You still gonna get the same haircut as, you know what I'm saying, as you if you were working in the same shop and going to Bark or whoever, you know, like, you still gonna get the same haircut.
Right.
Like, I just feel like we're a little bit, like, I don't know, unappreciated. And then I don't, like, for me, like, I'm always rep for female barbers. I don't have nothing against male barbers, but I definitely, the industry that we're in, a lot of female barbers are underrated and unappreciated, and that's just because of the industry we're in. That's going to be 24/7, whether you're starting out or been cutting for 20 years. We're going to always be that way. Like,
see, and that's what I'm talking about. Because this podcast right here is all geared towards putting the spotlight on what's real. You know, like there's so many great people out there in the world, and unfortunately, the great or whoever gets the exposure first stays up there. But then there's all these other people that's putting in all this leg work, putting in all this hard work. They're putting everything, blood, sweat, and tears, their passion into this thing. And you know what? Even their friends and their family aren't supporting them the way that this podcast is gonna support.
And I'm not saying that's my family.
So no, absolutely
I'm just saying, like,
because I seen your mom and I seen your brother and your sister and everybody at your event this weekend. So, or the past weekend. So no, that's not always the case, but at the same time, a lot of the times it is. You can put something on the internet and be like, oh yeah, I'm selling this t-shirt, or I'm doing this podcast, or I'm a barber now.
Right.
How many people gonna say, you know what, let me go support that?
Exactly.
Or how many people gonna be, they're gonna know exactly what you're doing, but they're gonna be like, I don't know. They're gonna question it. They're gonna wait until you get to a certain level, and then they're gonna support it. Absolutely. And what we want to do with this podcast is start supporting people early, because honestly, it's not that we're not great now. It's just that we don't have the exposure. Just we haven't been, seen by the right people, whatever the case may be. So like, I want to just generate love in our community as opposed to hate, because there's too many people that know damn well that they friends is doing incredible stuff, but because it kind of like outshines them or what they're doing at that moment, they're not going to bring it up. They're not going to share it. But the Hot Seat Podcast is. So when you come here, just know it's about you. It ain't about me. It's about we. We're trying to grow this thing, grow a network where everybody appreciates each other. Like when I say, yo, I cut hair, but I cut hair in Menifee.
Right.
But if you need a haircut up here in this area, or you need somebody that can actually come to you, then holler at my girl Kiara.
Right.
What's wrong with that? That's all I'm saying. So with that being said, man, what's next for Kiara, man? You got this mobile thing. This is just jumping off. I know it's very new. You know, you're pumping it out. So you just had the first look event. So like from there, like what do you see? Like what do you see in the future? What's popping next?
Shit. I can't even say what's next because you can say what's next. And
don't tell them everything.
Look, you can say what's next, and then you always gonna have them bump in the road, or you always gonna have a setback, or minor or major setback. But every day, for me, it's just to improve every single day. I'm not. For me, I always tell myself like I don't see myself as a top tier barber. I'm learning every day. I'm learning new things as a barber, as a person, and I could say what I would want to see what would happen next, but I'm not. I could put that in the air as much as I want to put it in the air, and I know that at the end of the day, there's gonna always be a little bit of a setback, big or small. So for me, what's next is to continue to improve every single day. Build my clientele, build my friendships, build my brand. Shit, if I build my legacy, you know what I'm saying? Put on for all these female barbers that getting treated like shit when they by
put
people.
On for all the barbers.
You know what I'm saying? But all the barbers really, but
all the barbers.
Just to build what I
growth.
Yeah, to build what I started. And to, when that time comes and I leave this shit behind, motherfuckers gonna remember it. Period. Like, remember my
That's
shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like,
word.
That's what's
dope,
next.
man.
That's what's next.
Cool. And it's a new segment that we've been implementing into our show. And the first thing we want to let people know is today's show is powered by, I'm gonna murder the name again. No, Konigin?
Just say Konigin, bro.
Konigncuttz.
Konigncuttz.
Mobile barber service. If you need a cut on the go, you need somebody to pull up, or you need, you know what I'm saying? Tap in with Kiera, AKA Konigncuttz. You know what I'm saying? We'll make sure that the link is provided above, below, to the side. One of those. So big shout out to you. Second, during intermission, we like to definitely send a shout out to our latest 3 subscribers. So, first subscriber we want to shout out is 4WLW. 4WLW. Big shout out to you, my brother. All right. The next shout out goes to Noah Rawls. That's my boy. Noah Rawls, big shout out to you, man. Fuck yeah! My homeboy, man, right here. He's my client. He's a good friend. Somebody I talk to. Supportive. He holds it down. So, big shout out to you, Noah Rawls, and your whole family, man. And last but not least, our third subscriber that we want, not third subscriber, but the third one we're shouting out today, is Ezel928. Big shout out to you, brother, man. I appreciate you subscribing. And make your subscription public, okay? Because if you don't do that, then not even us as the people that run this show can see it. And we're not able to shout you out. So just make sure you do that. Make your subscription public. Okay? Today's 3 was 4WLW. Big shout out to you. Noah Rawls. Yeah! And Ezel928. Now Ezel, I don't know if he ain't gonna tell nobody else, but Craig back here taking the shit somewhere. All right, which brings me now to the next part. The Fuego fact of the day. Fuego fact of the day. All right? I like this one because I came up with it myself and it relates to the show. And I think it's something that Kiera will be able to appreciate as well. All right. Big shout out going to Lucia Harris. You ever heard of that name?
No.
Okay. So now everybody about to learn something. See, this is the educational part of the episode. All right. So Lucia Harris is an Olympic silver medalist. She's a woman, black woman. Okay? She scored the first points in an Olympic women's basketball game. Right?
Okay.
That's dope, right? First woman inducted in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Right?
Okay.
All right, let me get my phone out for this last one. This one right here this finna make you go crazy.
She was the first woman
Look,
drafted.
I'm trying to tell you, this don't make you go
I think
crazy.
I already know this one.
She just passed away.
Exactly, I already know this one. I'm good. I already know this one.
First woman, first and only woman drafted into the NBA. Drafted by the New Orleans Jazz in 1977.
I'm sick.
So big shout out to Lucia Harris. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know about it, then now you do. And why do you know about it? Because of the Hot Seat Podcast. Alright? So that's our educational part. Fuego factor today. Put some respect on Lucia Harris' name, okay? Because she's about that life. Alright? She's really about that life. Drafted by the New Orleans Jazz, 1977. First and only woman drafted in an NBA team. Black woman. 1976, silver medalist, scored first points in Olympic history. Lucia Harris, Naismith Hall of Fame, class of 1992. First black woman inducted to the Hall of Fame. Big respects to you, Lucia.
Decided to want a man.
You stupid. All right. Cut it. Yeah. All right. Next part of the show, what we like to call this next segment. We ain't giving you no more breaks, okay? The next segment of the show, we like to call this rapid fire, okay? I got 5 questions from you. And you can either answer one or the other. All right?
One of them.
And if you can't decide which one, like Drink Champ, you're going to have to take a shot. You got that? Is that cool?
All right.
We good?
I'm good.
All right. Barbering or basketball? Oh, yes! I'm already doing good. Yes. Which one? Barbering or basketball? If you pick both, you gotta take a shot. If you pick one, then you good.
I'm sick.
All right, so that's one shot, Jay. Keep a note of that.
I'm sick.
All right. I'm gonna give you one that's maybe a little easier. Andis clippers or wall clippers?
Andis.
Andis?
Andis.
Okay, that's good. R&B or hip hop?
R&B.
R&B? Okay. TV or podcast?
Podcast.
Good answer. I like that. This one right here is gonna tear you up though. Nipsey or Snoop?
Nipsey. Sorry.
And why?
I can relate more to him. He's not my generation, but he's my generation. Like Snoop is my parents' generation, and I followed more. I mean, I don't know. I'm a Snoop Dogg fan, but I think I'm more of a Nipsey.
You think there will be a Nipsey without Snoop?
No, absolutely not.
But you still are more influenced. But you're still, as your generation, more influenced by Nipsey.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna go ahead and make it a both. So you always 2 shots tonight. Well, that concludes our episode of Rapid Fire. Thank you guys. And with that being said, it brings us to the wrap up segment of the show. with the wrap-up segment, what we like to do first is let everybody know, the ones that are viewing, the ones that are listening, how can we keep up with Crippen Kiera, AKA Konigncuttz, the German Slayer?
Instagram, mostly.
Okay. What's your Instagram? Let them know the Instagram.
No, like
you gotta tell them. Look right in that camera.
Konigncuttz.
Spell it or something? No, we don't have to spell it because we'll have the link provided above.
It's Konigncuttz. That's my Instagram.
Okay. You on Twitter, TikTok,
Facebook, no.
any of that?
Facebook, no. Twitter, no. TikTok, same thing. Konigncuttz.
You got your phone number on the side of your bus, so can we get that?
I don't know that. I don't know that number. It's like 404 and I don't know.
It's like Mike Jones.
Yeah.
I said,
look, if you want
Mike Jones.
If you
we'll make sure we provide all that for
Yeah.
y'all. You ain't even gotta worry about none of that. Okay? That's all. Okay? You ain't gotta worry about it. Okay? With that being said, now it's time to plug the show. This has been another episode of the Hot Seat Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Okay? Make some comments too. If the show's trash, tell us. If it's not, tell us. If you like a thumbs up, put a thumbs up. You want to put a thumbs down? Put a thumbs down. But just make sure you make a comment and let us know why that thumbs is going down, because we want to improve. This is our first season and we're making moves and we're not going to stop till we get it right, okay? So with that being said, that brings me to the quote of the day. Before we get to the quote of the day though, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to all our subscribers, everybody following us. Not only that, if you want to keep in contact with us, go over to Instagram, Thehotseat.co. Just like I said, thank you very much in advance. And we're moving on to the quote of the day. Quote of the day. The quote of the day is, since we got a barber in the building, an elite barber, an owner, somebody out here running amok in these streets and getting everybody fresh. She is the one to blame for your man coming home looking way too goddamn fly tonight. The one that makes you insecure about him going out on fellas night.
I'm sick.
Alright?
I'm sick.
Konigncuttz Kiera. With that being said, the quote of the day is, barbers don't die, we just fade away.
I'm crying.
And that quote right there comes from my boy that I met at my very first barber battle, Cutthroat Johnny. Big salute to you, Cutthroat Johnny, man. And with that being said, this is another episode of the Hot Seat Podcast with hot guests and hot topics. And guess what? We went to Wingstop, so we got some hot wings. And that's all I got to say about that.